All the way from the start, I can feel it in my heart, like all the way from the start.
Hey, what's going on out there? Sean Divine, and today I've got a new video for you all. This one is by request. A lot of you had questions about the video that we did where we recorded the NT1 microphone, the Rode mic, in a kitchen. So we recorded it in an untreated acoustic space, a lot of reflections, really just bad acoustic environment. And then we showed you that process and I let you hear the mixed version of it. And if I didn't show you the kitchen or didn't tell you that we had recorded it there, it might be kind of difficult to discern the difference. And so a lot of you had a question about, how did I mix it, or did I mix it any differently? Was it a radically different process to approach an untreated vocal versus something that we do in a studio? And the answer is it's not that much different, but there are some tricks that you can do to kind of mask the fact that you recorded it in an untreated environment. So I'm going to show you the mix session for that particular song and just go through the plugins, let you kind of hear some of the ways that I made it less noticeable that we were in that kitchen. Again, y'all, a lot of people are starting to record in just untreated rooms, tour buses, hotel rooms. A lot of the big artists on the radio are working this way. And as long as you're getting, pretty decent recordings, then you can work with it in the mixing process and still get professional results. So let me go ahead and play the verse back for those of you who may not be familiar with the video or haven't heard the song. This is the mix version.
Adrenaline touches each paint on my palette. The colors erupt on canvas and know to the most prolific artist. While you gaze at my displays and entertain the symbolic nature of my inspiration and ponder each representation. Remember, obscurity is the allure to me, like Jackson Pollock. Just making use of my tension and lack of attention to bring definition to triumph and tragedy. With each brushstroke, I highlight resentment, passion, and intention.
Let me solo it without the beat playing, just so we can hear what it sounds like with all the effects.
Adrenaline touches each paint on my palette. The colors erupt on canvas and know to the most prolific artist. While you gaze at my displays and entertain the symbolic nature of my inspiration.
So you probably notice first that it sounds kind of washy. There's a really big reverb on it. And that's part of the technique for how we mask the acoustic environment here. So let me just go ahead and show you. We've got a bus going to a bus 10. And that is our, let's see, 10. Okay, so we got a reverb here. This is just a CSR Hall, IK Multimedia, about a half-second reverb time, but it's sending quite a bit to that reverb. So if I turn that off, let's hear how noticeable the kitchen space is.
Adrenaline touches each paint on my palette. The colors erupt on canvas and know to the most prolific artist. While you gaze at my displays and entertain the symbolic nature of my inspiration and ponder each representation.
You can definitely hear the kitchen there. Pretty noticeable, but when we turn that on.
Adrenaline touches each paint on my palette. The colors erupt on canvas and know to the most prolific artist.
Just kind of covers up that unpleasant space and replaces it with a bigger, more washy, but more pleasant sound. Now, obviously by itself, again, it just sounds a little bit too verb heavy, but when you mix it with the beat and then the way the beat is mixed, the beat is kind of mixed, to sort of surround or hug the vocal. And with that reverb on it, you really can't tell what's actually going on there in terms of the reflections that were happening, because there were a lot of reflections in that room. There's like tiling back here. It was a big kitchen, so a lot of, just not the best sound there. So anyway, once it's played back with the beat.
Adrenaline touches each paint on my palette. The colors erupt on canvas and know to the most prolific artist. While you gaze at my
can't notice it. So let's talk about some of the other processes that are happening on our vocal chain. A lot of you are just interested in, how I process things. So the first thing is just the analog channel. We're just smoothing out some of the digital kind of harshness here. So I'm just doing a little bit of warming up on that tone. let's see, got a gain plugin on there, and then I'm using this 6030 Ultimate Comp, and then I'm using the British C, but sounds pretty good. It's got a warm kind of vintage tone, so let's just solo that. I'll let you hear it with and without.
Like, just making use of,
I'm gonna turn the reverb off.
like, just making use of my tension and lack of attention to bring definition to triumph and tragedy. With each brushstroke, I highlight resentment, passion and intention, the oils and acrylics.
So we're just bringing everything up there. It should be noted, obviously, that when we turn on the compressor, those room ambience, that any noise that you're gonna have, the noise floor is gonna be brought up by that compressor, which it is. So then I've got a limiter. I just put this on here just before I started the video, just because I know some of you get really concerned about clipping and red. I don't, but I put it on there just so that y'all wouldn't be too annoyed by it. But it is clipping in my aux channel, so I guess it really didn't do anything. But anyway, going on to our bus. So I'm sending that channel to a bus, and we're going to the Ssl EQ. And with the Ssl EQ, I'm doing really what I usually do with this EQ, and that is, let's see, well, I am reducing some low frequency information below 100, so just like 2 dB or so there, and then I'm boosting again at around 9K by about 5 dB, so let me turn that on and off for you.
Like, just making use of my tension and lack of attention to bring definition to triumph and tragedy.
Just giving us a little brightness. Then we're going into our trusty De-Esser, which this is just the male S. I don't even think that I edited that preset. This was a really quick mix. I want to say I did it in the kitchen, or most of it in the kitchen on headphones. And we've got another EQ where we're rolling off some more lows. Some of that boxiness in like 200 to 500 I'm always talking about. Reduce some of that. And then I took out a little bit of 6K. Let's see what that is.
Like,
just kind of like a sibilant sort of frequency there that I took out. And then lastly, we're going into yet another EQ, rolling off some lows and another little mid bump, or low, excuse me, low like sub bump at 170. Just a lot of different room frequencies that I had to kind of tame there. And then again, we're going to our reverb. And then finally, this is just a delay throw. I think this is on the end of the verse here. So I've just automated this delay throw here.
like I hit the lotto on this earth.
I think that's going to the Waves H delay. Yeah.
Like I hit the lotto on this earth, the work of my hands are only but that of a.
So the hook is really the same kind of approach.
On this earth, the work of my hands are only but that of a man.
Just used a different reverb and a different delay. I used the lexicon, and then we've got this echo going here.
On this earth, the work of my hands are only. On this earth, the work of my hands are only.
It's a pretty big noticeable delay there.
On this earth, the work of my hands are only but that of a man. It's what you stand for, Lord. What is your plan for me? On this earth, the work of.
In the context of the beat, again, it just gives it some width. So moving on to verse 2, nothing drastically different than verse 1. Let me just play back the backing. We did 2 different takes for the verses on both of these. You'll probably be able to hear the room a lot in the backing.
No impressionism, no Monet. Graffiti rap for Smithsonian. No impressionism, no Monet. Graffiti rap for Smithsonian display. Out loud, that's my brushstroke. 1 foot off the ledge and I ain't looking down.
Yeah, so you can definitely hear that there, but I've just got that layered behind to give us a little bit of thickness.
No impressionism, no Monet.
And then I've got some dubs here.
No impressionism, no Monet.
We were trying to record it really quickly, so normally I would have the artist do a left dub and a right dub, and then I would just hard pan them. But for this one, I just used the Dr. MS, the mono to stereo, just adjusted that, and with the MS, it's like this.
No impressionism, no Monet.
And without.
No impressionism, no Monet.
So it just kind of brings things to a wider place there.
No impression out loud. That's
So I've got these ad libs that are just going to our delay.
out loud. Graffiti rap. I'm the man on wire, flint, rock, and sticks. Young man, start fires.
All right, y'all, so that's a quick look at our session for the Untreated vocal. This was recorded in a kitchen. Again, I wanted to show this to those of you who are curious about, how I was still able to achieve a sound that's, still good quality, and you can't really tell where we recorded it. So again, just using the tricks like I showed you with the reverb, just covering up an unpleasant space with a more pleasant space, and then in the context of the instrumental mix, you really can't hear a lot of those reflections and just not great sounding things that were occurring in the kitchen. So it's really easy to cover that stuff up if you can get a good recording. Obviously, some things to consider are if you're going to be recording something, use a unidirectional or like a cardioid style microphone that's going to only record, what's put in front of it. It's going to reject the sound coming from the backs and sides. So that will really help you in getting a better sound in an untreated room. The NT1 is obviously a cardioid mic, so that did a pretty good job of rejecting those reflections. But, obviously you're still going to get some coming off of the wall behind. In our case, there were windows, there was tiling, all kinds of crazy stuff that we had to deal with. But again, it's not impossible to get a professional sound even with that type of recording. And just, to note, I'm sure a lot of you are noticing that, even big artists who have commercial records on the radio are recording a lot of their material on tour buses, in hotels, wherever the vibe is right and wherever they just feel like recording in the moment. So don't feel limited just because you can't get in a proper recording space, or even if you don't have, like a reflection filter or whatever. You can be resourceful, and as I say, a lot of the pro sound that you all are really listening for and looking for is achieved in the mixing process. So hope this helps y'all. If you learn anything, please like and subscribe. It's also really helpful if you share the videos. Let's get the knowledge out there. Let's help out other artists who are looking to learn some things about mixing and increase the conversation. I love talking to y'all. I love learning what you all are doing. So feel free to leave a comment below, and we'll talk to you soon.